topic is about lookup. Okay, that means VLOOKUP versus the what do you call that, the index and match. Okay, so this is very famous a piece of function that a lot of people are using in Microsoft Excel. But I am actually going through some of the basics with all of you regards to the VLOOKUP lah, right? So this is to kill the curiosity. Sometimes why the VLOOKUP works, sometimes the VLOOKUP doesn't work. There are people who uses it, but they use it because of what other people have shared with them, but they have no idea how actually VLOOKUP works. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to make sure everybody have the same kind of understanding, same kind of what do you call that, the basic fundamental that they have lah. So as the name suggests, VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. So before we go into the details on what each and every parameter here actually means, let's talk about we as a human. We as a human, how do we actually find the information? Okay, how do we use Microsoft Excel to find, or not use Microsoft, use our brain to actually look for this information? So let's just say you look at Amila Carpenter has a total sales of 133,000. So we need to find out what is the discount percentage that we are supposed to offer to this customer if they purchase up to 133,000. So who wants to try? Yes, Tan Yin Chu. Yeah, you want to try? Tell me how many percent are we supposed to offer to Amila Carpenter? Don't have. Mike, you want to, do you have any idea? If let's say Amila Carpenter has 133,000, how much discount? Yep says 8%. Yep, is it convenient to turn on your microphone? Just want to do some audit check with you. Mike, yep. Not convenient, is it? Okay, I take that as not. I take that as not
convenient for him to turn on the mic.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Oh, his desktop don't have mic.
But use desktop, I don't have microphone. Oh, okay, understand. Now, how do we normally get this 8% like Yap say? Yeah, Yap, you're correct. It's 8%. But how do we human do it? Now, I didn't even tell you where to look. I only tell you how many percent discount. And you give me 8%. And I so happen that I tell you correct. But what I actually refer to is because I created this and I know this is what you are looking at. And this is the table. There are two tables here, by the way. But you told me 8%. Okay, so yep, you continue to answer through the chat. I will ask you this question, you answer through the chat. Everybody look at the chat. Now, we took this 133%, 133,000, and we are looking for the discount. So, yep, can I just call you Yep, or you want me to call you WK? How do you call it? How do you call him or her? Just call you Yep. Okay. Now, Yep, did you look inside this table to find the 8%? Yeah. Did you look inside this table to find the 8%? You look inside this table. Okay, very good. Now, if you use this table, the one that I highlight on my screen, if you say yes, you look inside this table, that means you cannot use VLOOKUP already. Because when you take the 133,000, you didn't look for it from top to bottom. You're looking for it from left to right, left to right. So when you look for it, you're looking for it horizontally across. Horizontally across. So you cannot use VLOOKUP. You have to use HLOOKUP instead. you have to use HLOOKUP. If you tell me yes, you use this table, then you have to use a HLOOKUP. If you tell me no, alternatively, I think you will be looking at this table. When you look for this table, 133,000, when you search for the 133,000, you actually look from top to bottom. When you search from top to bottom, that is actually a vertical direction when you're searching. So this is where you use the VLOOKUP. This is where you use the VLOOKUP. Sorry, VLOOKUP. So whether you use H or VLOOKUP, basically is not our choice. It's not our choice. It's how the design of your table. If the design of the table is always this way, there's no way you can say, I want to use VLOOKUP, because VLOOKUP is for you to search vertically. How can you search vertically in this case, right? You have to search horizontally. So vertically, VLOOKUP only can be used when this a tabular table like this. Okay, a columnar table like this cannot be used. It has to be a tabular table that is this arranged in such. Okay, so this is where you use the VLOOKUP. Okay, first you must understand why we use VLOOKUP. V stands for vertical, and then H stands for horizontal. It's as simple as that only. VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So now that we know, if let's say we are using this table, we are going to use VLOOKUP. So there are altogether 4 parameters that is required in this VLOOKUP. Okay, number 1, lookup value. So what it's trying to say in this lookup value now is this: the value that you are using to do the lookup. So which is the value that you are using to do the lookup? It's the 133,000. So your lookup value is the C7. C7. Now, you say you take the 133,000 in C7 to do the lookup. To look up in where? Which table are you referring to? So the value that you use to look up inside which table? Where is your table? So in this case, because you're using VLOOKUP, it has to be this table. And it should be G6 to I13. That should be the table, G6 to I13, and not this one, not this table. This table is not for VLOOKUP, only this table. Now you have a choice to select with the title or without the title. It's fine, as long as the value that you compare is selected. The value that you're going to compare is selected, that's good enough. Whether you include the title or not, that is not really important. They can't actually evaluate the label anyway, so it will be ignored. They will start from the cell that contains value. Okay, so lookup value and the table array, they are very closely related. So what is the relationship between the lookup value and the table? If you are using the sales value now, this sales value will only match the first column of your table. I repeat, for VLOOKUP function, they only look up in the first column of your function. If this particular column is right at the back here, then you tell me you are using lookup value 133,000, then you look inside this table. Your VLOOKUP won't do anything for you. They will go to the first column. They cannot find any match. They will give you the last one. Okay, so remember this, VLOOKUP only match the first column. Some of the book, they say they use the leftmost column of your table. So if this is your table, they will use the leftmost table. Then they only look to the right. They does not look to the left. From the left here, from this column, they only look towards the right. They will not look backward. So in this case, we are supposed to match the sales range. They will not look backward. No, they only look to the right. So in this case, this one tak boleh. You must make sure that this is always in the first column. So for those of you who are not sure about VLOOKUP, this is something that you must remember to comply. So if you have any other information in front here, you can choose not to select it. You can choose this as your first column, and the rest of the information can be extracted. Okay, so that is the relationship between the lookup value and the table array. Now, once you understand these two, you will have 50% of your problem solved already. Okay. Now, the third parameter says column index number. Now, this is where the other 25% that you need to understand, column index number. So, in this lookup function, this is called the first column, number 1. Okay, and this is called the second column, number 2. And this is called the third column, number 3. Now, don't ever mention table index number. Don't go and tell them, oh, I'm looking for the discount, so column H. No, they are looking for number. It's an index number. Don't tell them alphabet. That won't work. So the column index number, they start counting from the first column, second column, and third column. Nothing to do with this data over here. There's nothing over here. This is my selection of your table. Okay, so if you look at it, that is the table, right? So number 1, number 2, number 3. So if we are looking for the discount, then we have to mention number 2. If we are looking for the discount level, then we have to mention number 3. The example, column index number. So because we are looking for the discount, we have to tell them, oh, we are looking for the column number 2. All right. Now, there comes the most important parameter in this VLOOKUP. This is the one that decides whether you will get correct or wrong. Okay. Now, 133,000. So yeah, let me ask you again. Yeah. How did you come up with the with the 8%? I got 133,000 here. Okay. Are you able to see any 133,000 here? Just give me a yes or no answer in the chat. Are you able to see 133,000 here? Yep, are you there? No, right? Yeah, you can't see. But you still come up with 8%, right? Now that's because what you did was you actually go in between 100 to 150,000. Okay, so you know that 133 is not equal to or more than 150,000. Therefore, you still stay in this level. So when you stay in this level, automatically you look to the left, to the right, then you see, oh, 8%. You cannot offer them 10% because they haven't reached 150,000. So that's why you go down one level and show 8%. So this is correct, 8%. So the decision that you have made, you say 133 is in between 100 to 150,000. That shows that you will use something here called lookup range. So here they are looking for, are you looking inside the range? So your answer you will put in here is a yes or no. Yes or no. Are you looking inside the range? Yes, I'm looking inside the range. So if I ask you again, are you looking in the range? You say no. No, I'm not looking inside the range. So what's the impact when you say yes or no? If you say yes, that means you are looking in between the value. But if you say no, that means you are looking for the exact value. 100,000 or 150,000. That is an exact value. There's no such thing as in between. Now in Excel, they don't call it yes or no. They call it true or false. They don't use yes or no, but they use true or false. So in your example, just now you say 8%. That means you actually say it is true. Yes, I'm looking inside the range. Okay, yes, you are looking inside. So you have to answer the answer yes, but not yes. You have to type in as true. Okay, so let's do this formula very quickly. Now I already explained to you the 4 parameter here. Then you have to make a decision what to use in each of these parameters shortly. Now I'm going to highlight this table. I'm going to call this one as V table. I'm going to use a small v, V table. Short for vertical table. Then I'm going to highlight this table. I'm going to call this one H table. If you can follow, please help to change as well. So this table is called V table. Now I have 2 tables now. V table, which is this one, and a H table, which is this one. Okay, so that's what I'm using. Now, I'm going to write one column here VLOOKUP and another column here HLOOKUP. Let's see whether we can find the answer or not. Huh? So the first thing that I'm going to talk about here is the VLOOKUP equals to VLOOKUP. All right, so if you look carefully, the parameter mentioned here, what is the lookup value? Just exactly like what I type here. VLOOKUP, lookup value. Lookup value is the value that you are using to do the search. Lookup means search, the value that you are using to do the search. So in this case, is C7. We are taking the 133,000, C7, comma. Where is the table that you are using? We are using V table. Now you notice I don't have to highlight G7 to I13. I don't have to do that. I only use the term V table. It's a fixed table anyway, right? So from this table, I'm looking for the discount. So let's take a look. Discount. Discount is in column number what? Column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. So I put 3. Don't go and tell them column H, it won't work. Comma. Then the last one says true or false. Are you going to look in between the range or are you not going to look inside the range? So here they have a choice. For true, it means approximate match. For false, it means exact match. Exact match. So now in this case, we are not looking for exact match. So we are going to use true, T-R-U-E, true. So if you press enter, you get go level. So when I put 3 just now, I'm referring to the third column, right? But I'm supposed to look for discount. So I'm supposed to use 2 instead. 2. Now I can get 8%. I purposely used 3 just now. You see the answer just now is wrong. I'm looking for discount. So for the next answer here, discount level, yes, it's number 3, but this one is number 2. So all I need to do is just copy down. I'll get all my answer. Now you notice something? I don't use dollar symbol in my formula. I use the name. I use the name to lock down this table so that they won't move. Okay. Now I already talked about the name in my previous classes, so I won't repeat that again. So all you need to do is just highlight the range and then give it a name. So I already gave this cell V table a name. V table. Okay, so yeah. Welcome, Siva Kumar. Now, for this discount level, I'm going to showcase how to use this discount level based on HLOOKUP instead. So I'm going to put that equal to HLOOKUP. So the first parameter here is still the same, lookup value. So I tell them, okay, look inside the C7, comma. So with what table is that? H table. Okay, comma. So in this case, discount level is asking row index number. The information you're looking for is in which row? Is it row number 1, row number 2, or row number 3? So discount level is row number 3. And we are still using true statement, true, because we are looking for in between. That's it. Yeah, you get answer. Now, everybody understand this VLOOKUP so far? That's the VLOOKUP for this one. And this is a HLOOKUP for this one.
Kevin, for the discount level, the C7, can we use the what called the the string, the dollar sign, C dollar sign 7, and copy from the discount column to the discount level? Can we do that?
Yeah, you can do that. But you only lock the C, don't lock the 7. Only lock the C.
Yeah, right.
Because if you lock the 7 as well, when you copy down, they always refer to C7.
Yeah, right.
So in that case, you have to use the mixed reference.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good idea. Can be done. Okay. But because I'm writing a different formula, I'm not copying over. So I decided not to lock anything. It's a different formula altogether. One is V, one is H. Are we clear about this? Can? Now, I want to talk about the true statement first. The true statement always look for in between. So when are we going to use the false? Now the example is down here. I want to use the product ID to look for the product name. So in this case, the table is just next door here like this. This is a product ID. I want to look for the product name. So that will be column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to highlight this table. I do not want to remember this as G21 to J33. I just want to remember this as P table. P short for product lah. So I put there P table. Now for your information, whenever you are writing a H or VLOOKUP for your work, the table that you are referring to, they usually don't just happen to be next to your formula. They are usually inside another worksheet. So instead of you trying to go to another worksheet to highlight, I suggest that you just go to that worksheet, give it a name, and then you remember the name. So when you write your formula, you will have a peace of mind that you don't even need to go to the worksheet and highlight. You just remember the name will do. So assuming that this P table is actually located in a different worksheet, now you don't even need to bother about where are they. You already remember that they are called P table. Okay, so I'm going to write the same VLOOKUP. In this case, it's going to use the C22. C22. And this time I'm going to do like what Lee, you mentioned just now. I'm going to log the C only. I'm going to log the C only. Then a comma. I use the P table. Comma. So this time I'm looking for column number 4. Okay, so if you look carefully, the product name is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to look for column number 4 in this example. So 4. So am I going to look for the exact match or am I going to look for an approximate match? There's no such thing as approximate match for alphanumeric. Let me explain that in shortly. So I already have this one, so I'm going to use false. False is exact match. So I get the answer, product sample. Okay. Now I have a student before who always like to challenge, which is good. I sort of like him. I mean, we are already a good friend now lah. So he happens to challenge some of the decision that I made in the class. So he said, "Why is it that you want to use false? True also can what? True also can get answer what? Correct what? True also can get answer what? Then why do we use false?" Okay, so I double click down, then I realize something is not right. You notice this one, all this different product code, but same answer. Some same answer with the first one. Then the second one is different. Hey, why got so many 500 ml one? All different code. Now we do some investigation. So let's take a look. For SUPA 100, SUPA 101, SUPA 101, the product is called super soft product sample. But the answer we got here is pure soft detergent 500 ml, which is the last answer here. The last answer, pure soft detergent. So we make a conclusion here is that Microsoft Excel, they are, in Bahasa Malaysia, we call it buta huruf lah. They do not go to school. They do not know how to match the alphabet. They don't. If you ask them to look in between, they don't know how to look. What they do is they treat the SUPA like a picture or a picture apple. This is apple, yeah, match. Okay. If one apple is red, one apple is green, they say they cannot decide. There's no such thing as in between. Right? So they do not know how to differentiate as long as the color is different, so they cannot. So Excel, they only match everything exactly the same. Then they'll say, yes, there's a match. Okay, so here, whenever you give them a text, there's no such thing as in between. Okay, let me give you an example to all human. Maybe call if any one of you can unmute yourself and let me know, that'll be good. Now, who can tell me, okay, if I have one name on top here called Penang, then another name below here called Selangor. What is between Penang and Selangor? Who can tell me that? You can unmute yourself.
Name of the state, yeah?
So here, my first name up on top here is Penang. The second name down here is Selangor. So can you tell me what is between Penang and Selangor?
Perak.
Perak. Very good. Some more? Only Perak. Now, you are right, huh? Perak. But why didn't you say there's houses, there's tree, there's road, there's car, there's grass, there's chicken, there's cow? No, why you didn't say all that? Because between Penang to Selangor, don't tell me there's no such thing. Got ma? But do you think Excel no? Now this is just one example. Huh? So if let's just say I have this name here, Ko, KHO, Ko, and then I got Carissa Ko. So I got LC Ko, Carissa Ko. Can you tell me what is between LC Ko and Carissa Ko? Why quiet? Huh?
Good question.
Nobody know. Even you don't know. Human being also don't know. Now, I was giving you a very simple example just now of Penang and Selangor. So you are able to define it based on the geographical location. So you tell me Perak, okay lah. But when I give you like LC Co and Carissa Co, you say, what's in between them? Huh? Nobody really knows. Okay, so there is no such thing as in between when it comes to tax. So let's come back to what I have here. Who can tell me what is in between SUPA 101 and PURA 100? Can you tell me what is between them? No way, right? Okay, so please remember this. Whenever your lookup value is not a number, it's a text or an alphanumeric, always go to false. There's no such thing as true. Always go to false. There's no such thing as true. Only false. They can only do apple to apple match. There's no such thing as in between text. Understand? That is when you have alphanumeric or alpha. But when you have number alone, then you have to do some thinking already. This number, am I supposed to match exact or am I supposed to look for the value in between? Only number got such thing as in between. When come to text, no such thing as in between. Okay, so that's quite easy to recognize lah. Whenever you got number, let's just say the number is employee ID and the employee ID is a number. This one you have to make sure that this ID is for Kelvin. This ID is for Noel. You cannot say that in between this ID is for Ko. Cannot one. There's no such thing as in between one. So Ko don't have an identity. No. Ko happens to be in between the first and the second. No. Cannot be like that one. So there's no such thing as in between when it comes to something that refers to one-to-one. That means one ID number refers to one person. Employee ID, the number belongs to you. And the other ID number belongs to another person. There's no such thing as in between. But when it comes to this kind of sales figure, there's possibility you're looking for in between because you are giving them discount. You cannot set up a table that counts every cent. It's crazy to have every cent. So they always have a range like this. That's why I call this a sales range. Okay, so it's just to remind you. So all I need to do now is copy the formula over. Okay, I change this one to. This is standard price. Standard price is column number what? 3. So I'll change this to 4 to 3. And I just copy this one down. That's all. Okay, so I just have to put them in the middle to see the value. Okay, so I go to this thing called number formatting. And I'll put this. Okay, yeah, put in the number, second column. Okay, so now for anything that you match, your lookup value, the lookup value is a text. You always end up in false. Okay, always end up in false. So questions, anyone? Is this how you know about VLOOKUP? Ko, are you using VLOOKUP already?
Yeah, at some press. No wonder my formula sometimes get wrong.
So you must understand a few important things.
Yeah.
They must match the first column. They only match the first column, and whether you know how to use the true or false. So if you can remember how to check your formula for these two, you can get almost 100% correct already. Okay. Now, Ko, I don't think you will write there true or false, right? If it's true, what do you use? If it's false, what do you use?
Yeah, good question.
You don't use false, right? What do you use? You always use 0, right?
Yeah, or I didn't put anything at the third column. What will happen?
If you don't put at the back here,
Yeah.
that
So
means
it's
it is
zero, right?
defaulted to true. Defaulted to true.
Oh.
Okay, you see, this is 3%. If I don't put anything behind here, right, enter, you'll still 3%. They will still find the correct one. This one, if I don't put true, they'll still give me 10% correct. So this is correct. When you don't give them, if you look at this column, not column, let me just go back to the formula. If you look at this formula at the back here, this is a square bracket, right, at the back. Whenever you see a parameter with square bracket, it means that this particular parameter is optional. You can leave it blank. Just like now, we leave it blank. It will have the default value. Okay, so in this case, they will use the default value. Default value. In this case, the default value is equals to 1. The default value is 1. 1 is equivalent to true. Okay, so that's how they understand that part. Right? Now, for true, you can leave it empty, or you can use 1. Now, they are using binary code. Binary code 1 or 0. 1 is always for on, 0 is always for off. Binary code. If you have watched Matrix, their screen full of 1 and 0, 1 and 0. The person who read it can understand it. I don't know how they do it, but 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 is always for true, 0 is always for false, false value, positive value, negative value, yes, positive answer, negative answer. So 1. So if you look, in case you are not sure, in case you are not sure, if you look at this, okay, I go to this image here. So if you look at all these on-off switch, they got 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0. 1 is for on, 0 is for off. It's always that case, right? 1 or 0. And you see this symbol here? This one? Our on-off switch is actually 1 and 0. It's not a design, it's actually 1. I mean, yeah, the person used 1 and 0 as a design. So it become an on-off button. So that's how the 1 and 0 become useful when you're using a true or false statement. Okay. Now, we already know that true, sorry, I take a little bit time on this, is equal to 1, or you can actually omit, O-M-I-T, omit, or you can use any number, except 0. You can use any number except 0. Okay, so Ko, this is for you, Ko. Listen carefully, Ko. I know you got your wife around you, but this is just for your.
No wonder my formula sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work.
Now, this one is for you here. You listen properly. Let's just say your company, you hire a very beautiful new staff. intern came. Oh, very beautiful one. So what you do is, you do like this. At the back of your formula, you put like this. You don't put my phone number lah. You put your phone number lah. Huh? Still can get answer one. Okay, so you tell that lady, right? You send her your email with the VLOOKUP statement there. Study this VLOOKUP carefully. If you don't understand, give me a call. Got your person here. Call? Can actually can bring any, put in any number. So for those of you, maybe Mike, you believe in feng shui feng shui, right? All your formula must bring good luck to you good luck to your business. Pull out all the 8. Then you will get the answer also. So any number is considered true except for 0. 0 is always dedicated to false. Right. So if you find someone writing a formula, hey, why this guy at the back there put something weird like that one? Don't panic lah. Nothing to worry about lah. It simply means true lah. If this person used 0, that means it's false. Okay, so that's what differentiate between somebody who knows and somebody who don't know lah. They look at it, they don't understand, they fail to give, they just give up lah. So that's how the VLOOKUP actually works. Now this is the basis of VLOOKUP. The basis of VLOOKUP, how it works, how it works, and how it should work. All right, now I'm going to give you some difficulty level. Okay, are you ready for the challenge? We are going to do the same thing now over here. Okay, let me just make all this smaller a bit. A bit. All this, I'll make it a bit smaller. Okay. I'm looking for the product name. Now forget about everything on top here, assuming they don't exist. Assume they don't exist. I want you to look for the product name based on this set of value that is given to you. So question, do you think I can just use VLOOKUP and get this thing done? Ali? Sivakumar, what do you think?
Yes.
Can use VLOOKUP?
Yeah, I think so.
Remember, VLOOKUP only match the first column. You use this SUPA, you look inside this. Are you able to find the product name?
No.
Now suddenly you say no already,
Because I remember you say, remember in the initial part you say you move the column to the last one. I heard something like say still okay to look up.
Cannot, it does not.
Okay.
It will only match the first column.
Okay.
The first column of your table. So tak boleh, tak boleh. Cannot. Right? Now, before I go any further on this, you already know this won't work, right? We have an alternative to this. I'm still going to use a VLOOKUP, but with the help of a choose function. So in this example, I'm going to use VLOOKUP and choose. I'm also going to talk about index and match. Okay, index and match. So I'm going to show 2 different formula in 2 different columns here. All right, so first thing first, VLOOKUP. Let's understand one more last thing about VLOOKUP. Let's talk about this one now. This one, you found 8%. We found 8%. So can you tell me, everyone, please let me know, in this VLOOKUP, whenever we want to find the discount, how many columns are involved in this process? I'll repeat my question. When I want to write this VLOOKUP to find the discount, can you tell me how many columns of this table are involved in the process? Anyone?
Is it 1 column, Kelvin? 1 or 2?
1.
Discount is the second.
So how many columns? You say 1, then you say discount is the second. So how many?
2.
2. At any time when you write VLOOKUP, there's only 2 columns. Minimum 1 lah, but maximum you only need 2 columns. Let's just say you use this 133,000 just to find out the sales range, then only 1 column. No? But you use the sales to find the discount, that means you need 2 columns. 1 column for you to match the sales. The other column is the result that you're looking for. So in this example, to find this discount, first we need the sales range. The second column we need is the discount. Agree? Right?
Yeah.
Now, if I want to find the discount level, that means the first column involved is the sales range. The second column involved is the discount level. That means I don't involve discount at all, only discount level. When I'm looking for discount, I don't include the discount level at all. So same goes with this. If I'm looking for the product name, that means I need to look for the product ID. Then I need to look for the product name. Did I involve product category and standard price? No. So each time when we write a VLOOKUP, maximum number of column involved is only 2. It will not be 3, 4, 5, but you can define. You can define them, but they are not in use. Okay, so why I'm talking about that? Yes, Lee?
Can I say the column, the first column is something like primary key?
Yeah, it's the primary key for you to do the matching.
Yeah, okay.
Matching. Then after you have found the match, then you have the rest of the information for you to pick up.
Yeah,
correct.
Thank you.
Right. So I'm still going to write a VLOOKUP here. Now, what I'm going to do is I already name each of this column with a special name. If you look inside the name box here, I have category. This is this column. I already name prior to the class I name it already. Then I also put in like product ID, which is at the back here. Then I also have product name, which is here. And then I have STD price, which is this one. So each of this column, I already give them a name. All right. So I'm going to write this VLOOKUP. Okay, everybody look, you go to VLOOKUP. I'm going to use this SUPA 101. Now, the problem with this VLOOKUP is the table arrangement is not according to the requirement by VLOOKUP. So we cannot just go and highlight the table. Therefore, we need to get some help. The help will come from choose. So I'm going to type CHOOSE, choose. Now, do you remember I asked you about in every VLOOKUP, how many columns are involved in the process? And we come to a conclusion is 2. Right? So in this choose function, they have index number here. This is to define column 1, what is in column 1? Column 2, what is in column 2? So how many columns are involved? Column 1 and column 2, right? So in this example, you're going to write like this. You're going to use a curly bracket, 1, 2, and then close the curly bracket. Because this is an array of formula. You have more than 1. If it's only 1, you just put 1. But because it contains 2 different columns, choices of 1 and 2, then you have to put the curly bracket because it becomes an array of value. Okay, and I use comma. I didn't use semicolon. So no, let's not go too deep into that. Just remember you need 2 columns. If you say no lah, Kelvin, 4 columns. Okay, you want to type 4 columns, you just go ahead and comma 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot say 1, 4. You must put 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 represent value 1. 2 represent value 2. Now they have value 1, value 2 down here. You see this? Value 1, value 2. So the number 1 here is actually referring to value 1. The number 2 here, sorry, the number 2 is referring to value 2. Okay, so if there's a 3, there's a 4, they will go ahead and do that. Now, no, I don't need the 3 and 4. I just need 1 and 2. Right, so I put back the curly bracket. So column 1 is value number 1. Column 2 is value number 2. So I put a comma now. I need to define my value 1. Then I need to define my value 2. So my value 1, what is supposed to be my first column? Product ID. comma. What am I looking for? Product name. So I put there product name. Now, do you notice something? I am using the choose function to actually rearrange the column virtually. I didn't physically move the column. I'm using the formula choose to tell them, okay, can you please put product ID as column 1, product name as column number 2. Even though originally they are like side by side, but now I rearrange them using the formula. So when I close the bracket now, I have completed the table array. This is the table array. So from this particular formula now, you can see this is column number 1. And what happened to the product name? This is column number 2. So product ID is column number 1. Product name is column number 2. Remember, VLOOKUP requirement is they only look from left to right in this direction, from left to right. So therefore, product ID is number 1. Product name is number 2. Okay, so I don't physically move the column, but I'm using virtual to move. Now, after this, I put comma. Now, I really don't have a choice. I only got 1 or 2. So I'm going to put 2. I'm going to put 2. 2 as in the second column, right? Then comma, I'm going to use 0. 0 is to make sure that this is an exact match. Now, we already mentioned this up here. The 0 means exact match. So I'm going to press enter now. I'm still going to get my answer correct. Okay, so the formula that I use is formula text of this value down here. Here you go. Okay, this is the formula that we substitute the VLOOKUP just now. So I'm using choose function to help me position my column so that I can still perform the VLOOKUP as normal. Now, any question?
Kevin,
Yeah.
I think normally when we create a table, you wouldn't create this way, right? The ID should be in the first column, right? In what situation we had to use this choose command? No, I think this example is not so appropriate. Right?
Okay. Assuming this table, they may have an index column here, 1, 2,
Okay.
like this. So are you going to highlight? This as well? You don't, right? You highlight from here. You are lucky that the information you are looking for is to your right. But what happens if the product IDs appear to be somewhere in the middle? The front part is the customer information, and then the product that you buy is somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
Anything can happen, you know?
I get you, the one. There's something like sales report.
In your sales report, your product ID may not be the first column.
Yeah, the customer ID.
So if you download this information from your system every week, when you download, the product ID is always sitting on the 4th column. Are you going to remove this and put in the 1st column each time you download?
No.
No, right? What you do is you just download and overwrite, but your formula does not really matter anymore, right? Your formula will always use product ID as your 1st column, product name as your 2nd column. Okay. Now, this question, or shall I say, this example didn't come to me. I did design this information. This information is actually asked by one of my students before. And I cannot remember it's a he or she, but the customer showed me the database. They say that the column, now he or she, I cannot remember, but she told me that she won't be able to do the VLOOKUP. So she asked me why. Okay, I assume it's a she. She asked me why. Then I look at her table, then I tell her, hey, this is not right. Because when you match, it has to be the 1st column. Then only I realized, like what you said just now, I never believed that people will put product ID somewhere at the end. Right? But for her, that's what she downloads every week. If I not remember correctly, it's every week. So once she download it, because there are price change every week, so she has to download it, and then she have to give the latest pricing for that particular week. Therefore, she don't want to take this one and put in front. or maybe she didn't know. So I told her, write this formula and it works.
Kelvin, can you explain again the 2, 0?
Well, number 2 is actually the column number 2. So this is
Column
my
number
column.
2.
This is column number 1. This is my column number 2. Remember, I told you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from this VLOOKUP, this is your table already, ma. This is your table, right? This is your table. So you are using this SUPA 101 to look inside this table. So you look inside the product ID. Product ID. You match. You're looking for the SUPA 101. So what are you looking for? You're looking for the product name, right?
Yeah.
So column index number 1 or 2?
Column index number.
Yeah,
Product
because
ID
this
is,
product ID is column 1. Product name is
product
column
name
2.
is 2. Okay.
So you're looking for.
Yeah, product name.
So that's why it's 2.
Oh, I see. Product name I put 2. How about the 0? You said that it's true, is it? Stand for
0 stand for false.
false. Stand for false. So if false,
1 is always true.
or 1 is true. Okay, 0, false. So if false, that mean, what does it mean actually?
Exact match. We are looking for the exact
Exact
SUPA
match.
one.
Okay, exact match.
Ah.
So another question, so under what situation will you choose? I mean, I look at this table over here, because your product next to product name, is it supposed to be in the first column? That's why I had to use choose, is it?
Yes. When the table given to you does not comply to what VLOOKUP wants, remember in the first thing I mentioned earlier, VLOOKUP only look for the first column of your table.
Okay.
If I highlight this as my table, my product ID is not in the first column. So I will not be able to write any VLOOKUP for that. Therefore, I'm using a choose function within a VLOOKUP.
I see. So that means the product ID, let's say, is in the third column, also to apply this formula. In the second column, also to apply this
also
formula.
cannot, yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't look backward. VLOOKUP don't look from right to left. They only look from left to right.
Okay, that's all right.
Can I say this formula to create a temporary array, something like programming, they create a
Yes, they are using this to create an array.
Okay, it's something like programming,
Yeah,
okay. Thanks.
If you go into that deep but we are just writing a VLOOKUP So if we don't use the product ID, we don't use the product name, right? Then I have to define this as J37 to J48. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I don't use the word product ID, I will have to call this as J37 to J48. And then the product name is going to be I37 to I48. But since I gave them a name, see, like this one, product ID, I gave them a name. Then product name, I gave them a name. So I can just use the name in my formula, make it easier for us to understand. It sounds very English in that way. Okay. Now, how many of you here find this VLOOKUP choose very confusing? Tell me the truth. Do you find it very confusing?
Kelvin, I just wonder that this choose, is it which Excel version started already got choose? Which Excel
long
version?
time already. Quite long already.
Quite long
time.
already.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't know this choose, Even in my former company, they use VLOOKUP, but they never mention choose.
Yes, you're right. Yes. It's been
these
there.
People are very good in programming in Excel. I am blur, see? Right?
Well, depending on how intensive you are using the formula. Now, many of you say no here, that you think this is not confusing enough. All right. So that's good. But there are many people out there who find, ayo, why so troublesome? We look up lah, must go and use choose again. Now, there's an alternative. There's an alternative to that situation. Same set of situation where the columns are not arranged according to the order. There's another function that doesn't really care about the order. It's called index and match. So I'm going to write the index and match function now. So let me start with index. All right. So I put that INDEX, index. So when I use the index function, basically I just want to call out the data. The index means I want to line up the data that I want. So in this case, I need the standard price. So I put that STD and I put that price, standard price. This is the column that I'm planning to extract. Now they ask me, they're asking me now, okay, you're looking for the STD price. Tell me which row do you want to extract and which column. Now, I don't have to tell them the column because STD price is only one column. It don't have 2 or 3 columns, right? There's only one column, so I don't have to define the column. But you have to tell me now, in this standard price column here, you need to pick up the information from row number 1. So I tell them, oh, SUPA 101. So I have to look for SUPA. Oh, SUPA 101 is the first one. So I tell them, oh, you pick up the value number 1. So they will call out the price. Okay, so let's do the second one. Equals to index, the standard price, STD price, column. So what about PURA 100 or PURA 100? Oh, that's the second item in product ID. So I put 2. Now, are you going to continue this process to write the formula and go and count, go and find it yourself? Of course not, right? If I am going to do that, why don't I just type in use my eyeball to check and then just type? I can do that. It's even faster. Now, this number that you key in here, if you want to automate it, that's where you use another function called match. So you are using the function called match. So this function match can help you to match the information and tell you the return number of the position. So number 1, the value that you are using to look up. What is the value that you're using to look up? The SUPA 101. Where do you want to match? In the product ID. Product ID. So you tell them, can you please take this SUPA 101, look inside the product ID for me, okay, and look for the exact match. 0. Okay, close bracket. 0 means exact match, just the same one as on top here, the 0. So when I press enter, I'm going to get the same answer. Just copy down, I'll get the rest of the answer. Okay, so let me just go in a little bit closer. We know that this one is in the first item, right? So remember just now, this one, I type 1. I type 1 myself. Okay, so if I double click this, I highlight this, and I press F9, F9 to update my formula. F9. You will notice that the answer is 1. Okay, so let's go down here. This one is $9.99. So if I highlight this, I press F9. Is there 5? So let's go and check 5. We go out here. Let me check 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the 5th one, 104. Is it 104? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 104. SUPA 104. And you already found a match. This is the 5th one. So they ask you, go inside here and find the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why you get the price as $9.99. SUPA 104, SUPA 104, $9.90, $9.90. So they are doing the matching for you based on the match function. Match function. They found the 5th one from here. So they go to the 5th item here and tell you $9.99. So let me just put the formula text up here. So this is the formula. Huh? Use a red color. So that's a different formula altogether. So the VLOOKUP with the index and match, they are doing the exact same thing. But VLOOKUP need a table. For index and match, they just have to make sure that the list is in the same range. Right? That means if this is 11 product, this is also 11 product. You just have to make sure that the first item is matching the first item. Second item is matching the second item. Then you will be able to use your index and match. Are we okay so far?
Very deep.
Very deep. Now, let me make it a little bit interesting for us to play with. Everyone, let's take a look. Now, if I change this title here to category, if I change it to category, and that is how I spell it inside the name box. See, category belongs to this lah. So if I change this to category, I would like this information here to follow the title. If the title says category, change this to category. So this is what I'm going to do. I go back to my formula. For this product name, I tell them, can you please don't just look for the product name? Can you look for the information based on the title on top here? Now, to do that, I cannot just refer up here like this and you expect to see an answer. No. So if I copy down, you will see everything also category. So that's not the way. So go back here. You're going to use a function called indirect. You cannot directly refer to this cell, but you can do an indirect referring to the cell. And I make that an absolute reference because I need to copy the formula down, but I don't want this to be moved. So I make it an absolute reference. So when I press enter, I'll get my product sample. I pull this one down. I'm just going to fill without formatting. So this is still purple. Now, if I change this to product name, they'll change the product name. When I change this to category, it will be category. So they follow the title. And this title, the spelling has to be the same as the spelling you put up here. See, product name without the space. So you must type here product name without the space. Then they will find it for you. Okay, so the formula is up here. I'm using a function, an additional function I'm showing to you this evening called an index function. Now I can do the same over here. Instead of standard price, I'm going to change this one to indirect. Indirect. I will follow whatever that's on top here and I lock it. F4. Okay. When I press enter, I'm going to get NA. Or should I say reference? Because there's no such thing called standard price here. So it's called STD price. Then they will find it. Right. So I'm going to copy this down without the formatting. Okay, so what happens if I change this to category? It will be category. So I can use this title to decide what I would like to display in that column. So I can use this to tell what. So in this case, I can also put this as STD price. So I'll get the standard price here. So let's just say I put this in the middle. Okay, I format this to number. Okay, there you go. So if I change this to product name, it will show me product name. So if I change this back to STD price, it will show me STD price. So it all depends on what I type as my title on top here. They will show me the information.
So the one it means you select which table name, right?
Again, sorry?
So this one, the column D and E, right? Is changing the table name, not the. Can I say that?
No, I didn't change the table name.
No, because
just,
by product name is the table you created. You select the table, right? The table, you put a name called product name, the space.
I mean this one. Yeah, I give
So
a
can I say that
name
one
to
is
the
the product
column.
name, the table name, table name for
The column name called product name.
yeah, the column. Okay, column.
The table means it's like this, you know.
I don't know, but I mean, my table is something like this, something like a database. Okay, never mind. I just
It's the
to make
column
myself. Okay.
Each column each column.
Mm.
Okay, so instead of just point to that particular column, now I'm making it flexible by using the function called indirect. So if I send this to my boss suddenly say, hey, don't show product name lah, show the category. Then you just tell the boss, you just go to the title there, product name on top, right? The title, change it to category lah. So ask your boss to type lah. Done. You don't even need to send the file back to you to do anything. Okay. So imagine you are building a chart. You're building a chart. So this data is for your chart. So every time when you want to build something with the, let's say this is January. You type January, this chart is for January. So your boss says, let's look at March. Then you just change this to March. The next thing you know, your chart will also change to the March value. It can be done in that kind of interaction with your data to convert a chart. We clear? Right. So it's a heavy topic today. It's a very, very heavy topic today. I started off very simple with the explanation on what is VLOOKUP first. Many people, they make a lot of mistake by giving them the wrong information, and then at the end they don't understand what is the mistake that they are doing. They happen to apply. Now that you know the each of the parameter, what do they do and what do they actually govern, then you can have better understanding and a better application. However, not every day is Sunday, you see. If the data is always collected nicely with the first column, second column, third column, that's fair. That's very good. But life is not so straightforward. It's not going to be the same for every single one of us. It will be something like this that appear in front of you. So you do not want to every time also take this, put at the front, or take this tree, put at the back. You don't want to do that kind of work. So might as well just make them become interactive or dynamic in the sense. Okay. Now I have another file. Wait, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. I have another file. I just want to share with you only. You can take a look of this file. This one, okay, over here. Now I have a set of database. This is a set of database. Okay. I want to look for all the company name that has a HO inside it. So you see all this got Johor, got HO, house got HO, holding got HO, house, and then I got Chong, also got HO. So what happened if I type here SO? As long as the name here contain SO, I'm looking for them. So basically when I click inside here, it's a VLOOKUP formula. I'm actually using a base formula called VLOOKUP. But this VLOOKUP is based on what I found using the SO. Okay, so there is a column at the side here that called the index. So whenever that SO appear inside the name, it will list as number 1. If the second list here has SO as well, so there will be number 2, and continue with the rest at the bottom here. As long as there's an SO, there'll be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. That's why they are arranged in this order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if you're interested to look at how the formula is written, I've already put this inside the OneDrive. You can take a look. You can take a look. It's inside the OneDrive folder. Where's my OneDrive folder? Okay, my OneDrive folder is missing again. Oops.
In the chat window, right?
I put it in the chat, but I just want to show you on the screen. Yeah, here. You see this OneDrive window here? There's a TTT. That's the one I shared with you. So I put the file here. You can take a look at it. Okay. Now, this week, I'm going to be a little bit special. I want you to do some homework for me. If you can, go to this folder. For those of you interested, go to this folder. Look for this file called comparison. I got a bit of homework for all of you. Right? So let's open up this file. The file is called comparison. So open up comparison. This file is for you to see, but the comparison is your homework. Okay, let's open this. All right, let me explain to you what is this all about first. I have two sets of table here, both are payroll. So the blue color table and the orange color table. So let's assume that this blue color table here is January. Okay, I'll make it easier. This is January and this is February. January. The first table on the left is January. Then this is the February. Now, these are the employee that I'm paying for the month of January. Okay, everybody listen carefully. Next week, maybe you would like to tell me whether you have done it or not, and how do you, I will let you know the answer next week. So this is the January worksheet table, and this is the February table. So let me know, what does this mean? If I pay the salary for this employee in January, but when it comes to February, I didn't pay them anymore. What does that mean to you? The employee name is not inside my February table list. What does that mean?
Resign already.
Resign. Okay, good. Go. Thank you so much. So your homework is to tell me who has resigned. You are supposed to use a VLOOKUP formula to find it. Don't use your eyeball to go and check. You have to write a VLOOKUP. Show me the formula next week. Is that okay? I repeat, this is January. This is February. So the name appear in January. That means I'm paying them in January. But some of these employee, their name did not appear in February. Like Cole said, they resigned. So I need you to tell me who has resigned. Write the formula in column G, the VLOOKUP formula, and tell me who has resigned. Okay, so a very simple work for you to try out your understanding on VLOOKUP. I realize every week you listen. I don't know whether you understand or not. So I give you homework. Then I know whether you actually listen and understand, and then you apply. So let's see how many of you come back with the answer. Okay.
This spreadsheet, is it download? You download it or what?
It's inside the OneDrive. Remember, I showed you the OneDrive just now?
OneDrive,
There is a OneDrive link passed in
Yeah,
the
I gave
chat
the
window.
OneDrive link earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. OneDrive.
Got you all got the link or not? If not, I think it's a. Can you please check for me whether you can get this file?
Yeah, I got it just now.
Yes.
Can
Yeah,
I
can.
think the rest also should be able to get it .
I got it from the early one.
It's a TTT folder Inside the TTT folder, you have that comparison file. Okay, so I'm going to save that file and put it back here, the lookup with the completed one, so that you can also double check the formula that I have written also . Okay, so let me do that. You close this one. Okay, this file, I'm going to save it as well. Save as, so I'm going to put this as completed. So I save. Okay, so this is the TTT. This is my folder that was completed. So I copy, I come here, I paste it. There you go. Okay, so for those of you who have access to this folder, the formula that I have written for the VLOOKUP and the index and match is inside here, completed. You can find the formula in here. Okay, that's all from me this week. Okay, tomorrow next week I will promise you a lighter topic lah, not so heavy one. Today is a little bit tense, so thank you so much. Right?
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for the great sharing on the VLOOKUP and index and match. Oh, it's really interesting topic that for every of us to really think about while we are writing the VLOOKUP formula. Why sometimes it works, why sometimes it doesn't work. That's really
I actually
good.
have a course, 1 day basic VLOOKUP, 2nd day VLOOKUP advanced.
Wow. Okay.
So I taught the class to a group of engineer from HP.
Good. Thank you very much. Thanks for the sharing. So everyone in the group who interested, please ping Kevin on this. And
You can just let me know what are the issue that you are facing. Not necessarily must be VLOOKUP lah. It can be any other function.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So sorry, I
So
took up too much of your time. I think about 20 minutes extra already. So
it's okay. It's
sorry.
a really good sharing. I think we shall all of us shall thanks Kevin on doing this valuable sharing to all of us. Right. So thank you everyone. Thank you for staying with us. And there's a feedback form actually patched into the chat window. Kindly feel free to give us your feedback and comments. All right. So see you again next week with the homework.
Bye.
Okay.
The homework, okay.
Remember
Hopefully
your
with the
homework.
correct answer. All right. All right. So good night, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you,
Bye.
Kevin.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Okay,
Take
bye.
care.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Good one. Really good.
Homework.
Well, that is really good. Really good. All right. So see you again next
Okay.
week, Kevin. Keep in
Good
touch.
night.
Okay, bye.